Okay, this is a video I was somewhat reticent to make, but a bunch of people requested it, so as a viewer requested a video. Camera of the decade. And when I say these cameras, I can't single out a single camera. When I say these cameras, they'll say, well, what about so-and-so camera? And I'll remind you that this is camera of the decade from 2000 to 2020. So there's some awesome cameras like the Nikon D4 and Nikon D700. They're not part of this decade. Okay. Because I know we'll get questions like that, so I have to first start that by starting out mentioning those in no particular order. And I've basically got listed 7 cameras here. You know, 1, 2. But I mean, there's a group, and in no particular order. Like the XT2, XT3. XT3 obviously is an evolution of the XT2 so far as the speed and capabilities and buffering and different sensor. But I mean, they do essentially comprise one camera. They're completely different cameras, of course, and I had the XT2, a pair of them. I still have an XT2 when they first came out, so I know they're different. I own both of these cameras. But they still are kind of one camera. And no one says, hey, the XT3 is radically different than the XT2. It kind of is on performance and specifically video features, but it's kind of the same camera, kind of like a Nikon D4, D4S. So first camera in no particular order, the XT2, XT3 camera. Second camera, once again in no particular order, Nikon D850. Absolutely undeniably the best DSLR ever made. It's the master of all, let's say, what is it the old saying goes, is a jack of all trades but a master of none. This one is both a jack of all trades and a master of all trades. It's really the kind of the perfect camera for doing everything. You really can't say that the D850 is a slouch at anything. I mean, it's perfect for landscape, architecture, sports, action, wildlife, on and on and on. I mean, that's the camera that nails it. The one camera that I kept heralding over and over again, and basically every bird and wildlife photographer has a copy of it. I'm doing my videos on a D500. I also have another D500. It's a Nikon D500. Absolutely amazing. When I was the first person to review it, I said everybody should buy this camera, and everybody said I'm full of crap because it's a $2,000 crop sensor, no way, no how. But of course I was proven right over and over and over again. My camera reviews are awesome. Thank you so very much. You think that's egotistical? Guess what? I don't care. The point is that I was right. My accuracy and hit rate on recommended cameras is better, and I'm proud of this. Better than the rest of these other knuckle-dragging, banana-eating monkeys on YouTube. I'm sorry, but my hit rate is better. It's way better, actually. So D500 Nikon. That's essentially 3 cameras, even though it's technically 4. The third, you might get miffed at me. I got the GFX 100 on order. I've used it now for 2 months. I'm extremely familiar with the camera. However, I'm lumping all 3 of them into the same, and they are different cameras for different. Now, I have the GFX 50S and the 50R, so I'm lumping in all 3, even though they're 3 completely different cameras. And my favorite camera of all time is the GFX 50R. It's a bit of a brick, but it's the one camera I've been waiting nearly 10 years for. But and I also have the GFX 50S, but I'm lumping all 3 of these cameras into one. A GFX 50S, a GFX 50R, and the GFX 100. I know the differences of all of them. I have 2 of them, and the third one I still have on order. And I'm very familiar with it. I've used it. So I still kind of lump those together as one camera. Even though they're different. You want to attack me for that? And that's okay. Doesn't matter. GFX, I've seen more than a few GFX 50Rs go for used at about $2,800, and that is just redonkulously cheap for a medium format camera. I mean, incredible. All those idiots out there for the past year or so, that's an old sensor in that camera. That's been used now since... And it doesn't matter. The output on that is incredible. It's like the Nikon D4. That's an old camera. I still got 2 of them. The output on the Nikon D4 is crotch melting incredible. It's just an amazing camera. It's been a long time since the Nikon D4 came out. That camera still gets bid on like bat crap crazy on eBay. You know why? Because the camera is amazing. But that's not a camera of this decade, so... The truth is, even though I have an XT2 and an XT3, And of course, the image processor, the sensor, and the image processing engine is the same. It's still, very polished. I'm getting to the point here. I'm actually a bigger fan of my X Pro 3 than I am of my XT3. Well, why would that be the case? Well, I mean, the XT3 is more capable and more versatile for more people, for more things. Obviously, it has that articulating screen where the LCDs on the outside. And, I've made lots of videos on the XT3, but just for me alone, I actually like my X Pro 3 more than I do my XT3. I just do. It's a very, very finely polished piece. The larger viewfinder, the fast, it's just, it's not the camera for everybody. I know the XT3 is more versatile. I'm not calling this the camera of the decade. I'm not including the X Pro 3. I'm just saying, my particular subjective I actually like my X Pro 3 better than my XT3. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Look into my eye. Not lying. As far as those sets of cameras, like the medium format Fujifilm, the XT3, the XT2, the Nikon D500, and Nikon D850, I've heralded these cameras endlessly, and they are epic winners. So those are the cameras. It's like I can't pick out a single camera of the decade. Like, what the hell would it be? Of all of those, I would actually have to say, as far as getting the biggest bang for your buck, being a Swiss Army knife camera that does friggin' everything and it's inexpensive, the XT3, XT2 combo really has to be the camera of the decade. It edges out these others as far as everybody and endless versatility. Yeah, the XT2, X/XT3 series of cameras. I know one's made in Japan and one's made in China. Yeah. However, people fail to distinguish the fact that there's a huge difference between made in and assembled in. The parts and sensor are still made in the same. The only thing a digital camera really is a main board, a shutter mech, and a sensor. And an EVF, in case of a mirrorless camera. But, yeah, that edges out those other cameras. So far as a DSLR of the decade, even though the D850 is more capable, the DSLR of the decade really does have to be the D500. It really does. It does. D850 is more capable and on, more megapixels, BSI sensor. I own both, but the D500 edges out as a DSLR of the decade. So those are my picks of the cameras of the decade, and the ones that edge them out are the XT2, XT3 combo, and the D500 for DSLRs. Thank you so much for watching. Loxi Veritas, as they say, in Latin. I only had 2 years of Latin. I've forgotten a lot of my Latin. Latin's not as important as ancient Greek, however. All the stuff in ancient Latin is just Christian rehash. I don't need that. Life is short, so why did I mention that topic? I'm going to edit that part out of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and that's my picks for cameras of the decade. Peace out, Girl Scout. If you like these videos, click the link below. Tell me how much you hate me. But remember, my camera reviews have a much higher hit rate than the other folks that will just review anything. Buy this lens, click the link below. Make sure you click the like and subscribe button. They're nothing but shills and pimps. Pimps and shills and pimps with a pile of affiliate links. And they're trying to get money from you. Yeah. Whatever you buy, I don't make a dime. Thank you. Goodbye.